The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. A leper came to Jesus and kneeling down begged him and said, "If you wish, you can make me clean." Moved with pity, Jesus stretched out his hand, touched him, and said to him, "I do will it. Be made clean." The leprosy left him immediately. He was made clean. Then Jesus, warning him sternly, dismissed him at once. He said to the man, "See that you tell no one anything, but go show yourself to the priest and offer for your cleansing what Moses prescribed. That will be proof for them." The man went away and began to publicize the whole matter. He spread the report abroad so that it was impossible for Jesus to enter a town openly. Jesus remained outside in a deserted place, and people kept coming to him from everywhere. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Well, happy Valentine's Day to everybody in Zoom world. And you can get on the chat and wish us a happy Valentine's Day if you'd like. And what would one want on Valentine's Day? Well, you might want chocolate, but I mean in relationship, you'd probably want someone who would love you no matter what. Like, love you unconditionally. Well, what a wonderful gospel today for Valentine's Day, because Jesus Christ, Son of God, is exhibiting exactly that unconditional love. Now, the leper is an outcast, which we sometimes feel like ourselves. He's an outcast. He's not accepted in so-called normal society, whatever that may be. But he believes. Why does he believe? Well, Jesus has spent a bit of time out in the desert, as we've already found out earlier in Mark's gospel. He goes out there to pray. Well, where do lepers spend time? Outside of town, in deserted places. And maybe this leper saw Jesus and had a sense about him. Maybe even heard about him, but something about Jesus said, this guy is user-friendly. I believe he can do something for me if he wants. So the leper presents himself not as a perfect human being, not as a wonderful person. We know nothing about his moral character or his anything. Well, we know he's a Jew, but he has faith. And what does Jesus do? He says, okay, I want you to be included. I want you to be part of, not separate from. And he doesn't challenge the fellow about his character or his past. He just touches him. Uh-oh, problem for Jesus. You touch a leper, and what do you get? You get considered a person who could be catchy with leprosy. That's why I think Jesus spends a lot of time outside of town after this, in that neighborhood, because when the guy goes out and proclaims the good news, well, part of the good news is Jesus has to suffer for the good news, because the fellow says, he touched me. And so Jesus, in a way, is taking the place of this leper. Now, he has to live outside of town, and the leper is back in, as leprosy's gone, the man is back in, included in society. And so Jesus' love for us is unconditional, no matter what price he may have to pay. Wouldn't you like that kind of a love on Valentine's Day? I sure would. So, what about us? How unconditional is our love? I suspect that for most of us, we have people who we consider kind of lepers, sort of outside of what we would consider acceptable, certainly outside of what we want in our world. And there may be various reasons why we have that, why we are not inclusive, why we are not unconditional. It could be language, skin color, economic status, citizenship, sexual orientation, maybe even religion, which we say, no, no, no. I love this, but not that. Well, then I don't know that we're really following Jesus, who seemed to be willing to get out there and be loving and accepting and even touching people who are otherwise considered by society to be outcasts. Well, interestingly enough, in 3 days from now, Lent happens. 40 days. Well, 39 for the Irish because we have a dispensation for St. Patrick's Day. But for the rest of you, it's 40 days. 40 days you get the opportunity to do something to become a better person. So what do some people say? Well, I'll give up chocolate or coffee. Well, what's going to happen at the end of the 40 days? You'll give up chocolate and coffee and pat yourself on the back. Your ego will be bloated up and you'll think you're a great person because you gave up food. Is the world a better place? I don't think so. So why not make Lent instead of giving up things like that, or your personal pieties, which are fine, but the world generally is not changed. You know, sometimes we have a novena. We say, Mary, please change the world. What are you doing about it? What are you doing about it in your own little personal world with all your segregated groups, your unacceptables, you're unwashed, you're unclean. So I suggest that for Lent, you think about who it is that you find unacceptable for whatever reason. And why don't you work on connecting with them, somehow touching their lives with a little bit more acceptance? That gets you out of yourself, and it might make the world a better place. Remember, whoever you are, there are people who find you unacceptable, who don't want to hang around with you for one reason or another. So I think that's a wonderful Lenten idea, to build inclusive communities and to try to practice unconditional love, not based on their moral character or all the other things that you reject them. And then the world might be a better place. And it might be a more Christ-like place. Because it says Jesus came to save all. Didn't come to save all after all became something. He just loves on us. And that could be the start of us beginning to love on others. And I think that in spite of the rumors that Jesus might have leprosy since he touched, there were still many people who came out of town to be with him. There's a hunger to be accepted and to be loved, not to be rejected, not to be separated out. And so our Lenten season allows us to do that, to be kind of a Valentine. And that can be a little bit hard if you already live in a community or a world in which everybody is already like you. It might mean you have to go find, search out, be with some people who you don't hang around with, and try to be open and accepting. The results aren't up to you any more than the results were up to Jesus when he died on the cross. He just loves unconditionally, and that's what we can do.